organizer at Friends of the Earth, so we have local groups, as I'm sure lots of you are aware, and my job is to support our network of local groups across London. So I'm not really going to talk about the nature bill, unfortunately. So if people were hoping for that, afraid I'm not going to be able to do that. But I'm going to talk about our big climate plan campaign instead, which is all about engaging MPs and the government. So I'm going to try and share my screen. I've got a presentation that's a little bit text heavy, but hopefully to balance that out, I can show you a quick video, which will just put everything into a bit of a nutshell, hopefully.
Then inspired dozens of other countries to follow suit and introduce their own laws. This was all thanks to Friends of the Earth's tireless campaigning back in 2008. But now we need to come together again, because the UK is seriously off track from hitting its climate targets, and we are running out of time. To make matters worse, the plan drawn up by the previous government to meet those targets is unlawful. It failed to protect people and planet and was defeated by Friends of the Earth in court, not once, but twice. And now, 16 years on from the Climate Change Act, we're demanding the government come up with a big new climate plan that will actually get the job done. Not just for the climate, but for our communities and future generations too. Cheap energy, warm homes, better public transport and reduced emissions. All these are in reach, but only if the government gets this new climate plan right. Head to the link in our bio and add your name to tell Keir Starmer to step up and deliver the climate plan we all need.
But yeah, I'm going to dip into that in a bit more detail and then go through some of the tactics that we're using and we're asking local groups to use in engaging their MPs and winning the campaign, and just see how it kind of strikes you. So yeah, like it said in the video, what's the big climate plan? So essentially it's the government's plan its strategy to reduce the UK's climate emissions, and the government is obliged to cut those emissions and to produce a plan showing how this will be done. And it's totally off-brand. I've got no Friends of the Earth branding on here, I'm afraid. But so this is all thanks to the passing of the Climate Change Act in 2008, which followed on from the Friends of the Earth Big Ask campaign. And why does the government have to write a new climate plan? So since the Climate Change Act in 2008 was passed, Friends of the Earth closely tracked how the government's been doing with that and how it's been implementing it. And as my colleague said in the video, twice in the last 3 years, Friends of the Earth has taken the government to court. We believe the plan was not in line with what the Climate Change Act required. And on both those occasions, the court agreed with us, said this is not lawful, and you've got to basically go back to square one and write a new plan. And the most recent victory was this year, back in May, and the government's climate plan was deemed to be unlawful. You've got to go back and write a new one. Of course, we've now got a wonderful new Labour government, which has recommitted to meeting the UK's 2030 International Climate Pledge. But as we all know, we are not on track to meet the action that's needed. So essentially, the new government has to put a new plan in place in the spring by no later than 2nd of May. So what must the new climate plan deliver? So basically, it's got to set out the policies to reduce emissions and decarbonise all sectors of the economy, from transport to agriculture. It's got to outline how it's going to put the UK on track for net zero emissions by 2050 and meet the shorter term targets that ensure action starts now and isn't kicked down the road. It includes the UK's pledge under international law to cut emissions by over 2/3 by 2030. But not only that, we are calling for not just a bold climate plan that will do all those things that we just talked about, but also a fair climate plan that doesn't leave people behind. So cutting emissions isn't only about tackling the climate crisis. It's also about bringing other benefits and addressing social injustice. So, you know, um, ensuring warmer homes for people with cheaper bills, good jobs in new green industries, better public transport, cleaner air. Everybody needs to benefit from the policies that are put in place. Okay, so that's kind of like the sort of nutshell of the camp of what we're calling for, and I'm just going to go through the sort of the tactics for that. So basically, it's all around kind of building support locally to put pressure on MPs, to put pressure on the government. So lots of the things that Jessica was just talking about. So with our network of local groups, we're asking them to sort of get out there, first of all, in the community and build local support for the campaign. So that might involve collecting petition signatures. I'll show you a lovely petition card in a minute. So going out and doing stalls, getting lots of people signing and supporting this, and at the same time complementing that with an online petition. We have some tools that we give our groups for free to do that, which I can talk about more. Meet your MP, and then I'll also talk a bit about the climate and the Crossroads report in a minute as well. So that's just, this is the lovely postcard, which is kind of just a way of engaging people on the street or on stalls and asking them to sign a petition. So you sign the postcard and then we send the postcard off to Keir Starmer, and that kind of becomes a petition. So and then also on stalls we have we've produced this, which is kind of a little bit like the whiteboard that Jessica showed on one of her slides, which is kind of like getting people to start to engage with the topics. And we have some prompts for this. So for people who just might look at that and go, what on earth are you talking about green jobs? We've got some prompts and some bits that you can stick on there. So the idea, you have like a big sort of board with that on, and you can just engage people and talk to them about the big climate plan, basically. And then we've got placards that you can order that look nice. They're kind of A1 size, I think, or A2, and they go up pretty big, and you can use them on your stalls and your demonstrations. I'm just showing a few of the resources that are available. I'm not going to go into sort of huge detail here really on this actually, but yeah, we have a tool called Action Network, which is and some of you might know of it, but it's something you can create petitions and online actions on and build your email list on as well. So you can create a petition on that to the Prime Minister and get lots of signatures, or to your local MP to ask them to support the big climate plan. But yeah, I won't go over all those tactics to build that petition in detail. But we can look at that further down the line. So basically, yeah, then the next thing is all about kind of meeting your MP. Lots of the stuff that's just been talked about in quite a lot of detail. And I'm just showing you this screenshot, which is just a snap screenshot from our website, which takes you, when you click on the thing here on the button, it will take you to a guide to how to have impactful conversations with your MP about the big climate plan. So yeah, just one of the resources we've got for that on the website. Basically, meet your MP, ask them, support the big climate plan, write to Keir Starmer, or you know, do what you can to support the big climate plan. And then I think the final thing, yeah, is the climate at a crossroads report. So what we've done is produced a report which is basically looking at what progress has been made since the Climate Change Act came into being in 2008 and what needs to happen next. And this report was actually just launched yesterday on the 16th anniversary to the day of the Climate Change Act coming into being. So lots of our local groups over the country have been sending this report to their local MPs. And just down the road from you, Tottenham and Wood Green, Friends of the Earth, yesterday took a couple of copies of the report into Parliament and gave one to Bambos Charalambos. I hope I've said that right. Probably not. And also David Lammy's team. But groups are doing that all over the country, and that's a resource that you can use over the next few months in the lead up to the introduction of the government's climate plan, to really sort of like hammer it home. And that's just a resource that you can use with MPs. So in terms of like taking this on as a campaign, I'm sort of in a way presenting this to you as something that as a group or as people from different groups you might be interested in getting involved in. You might want to set up a petition, or you might just want to write to your MP and send them a copy of the report, or maybe if you're meeting an MP you might want to mention it to them, or be as involved in this as you want to be with your 3 MPs. So I'm just flagging that there is some lots of there's more further support than this. We have a whole website geared up around with lots of guides and information on how you can take part and what it all means and all the stuff that I've just been through, but in quite a bit more detail. But there's also a link here to the order form on our website. We can order those resources, like the postcards and things like that, for free. And then we have monthly webinars on the campaign where you can hear from our campaigners who are working on this every day, and other local groups who are working on this campaign as well, and sort of get the latest and ask questions and stuff like that.